Every doctor has one, a companion that isn't just company. Not a tourist, not a tag-along, but a mirror, a soldier, a spark. So here's the question. Who is the true companion of the 15th Doctor? You might think it was Ruby, but look again, it's Belinda, and the evidence is everywhere. The Doctor always travels with many, but only bonds with one. Let's get honest, babe. Every regeneration of the Doctor meets many companions. Some are sweet, some are strong, some are just along for the ride. But every version of the Doctor, Eccleston, Tennant, Smith, Capaldi, Whittaker, Gatwa, they each have one companion who changes everything. One who challenges them, one who pulls them back from the brink, one who becomes a piece of their soul. With the 15th Doctor, most thought it would be Ruby Sunday, and honestly, it almost was. Millie Gibson brought heart, wonder, but her story, it was all build-up. To an ending that didn't shake the stars, then came Belinda Chandra, and in one episode, everything changed. Belinda doesn't just travel with the Doctor, she fights beside him. Here's the truth, most companions need time. They scream, they stumble. They spend half a season figuring out which way is forward in the TARDIS, but Belinda, she hits the ground running. No panic, no flinching, just precision, clarity, and fire. Even in the robot revolution, her very first outing, she's already reading the Doctor, calling out his bravado, matching him beat for beat in the face of chaos. That's not chemistry, that's battlefield trust. Ruby was young, open-hearted, wide-eyed, she needed to be protected. Belinda, she doesn't need saving, she saves the Doctor, and when she does, she doesn't even ask for thanks. That's what soldiers do. But the Doctor isn't just looking for a fighter, he's looking for a mirror. So now here's the twist, it's not enough to be brave, or smart, or funny, or loyal. The Doctor doesn't bond with ability, he bonds with empathy, with people who make him stop, think, feel, and with Ruby. The journey was beautiful, but easy. There was no resistance, no challenge, no mirror, but Belinda, she pushed back, she questioned, she stood toe-to-toe with a god in a bow tie, and didn't blink. That's not just a companion, that's a match. But here's the real mystery. Why does the Doctor trust her so quickly? And what does Belinda know that we don't? He doesn't just want someone to follow him, he wants someone who makes him pause. Not a shadow, not a fan, but a challenge. And that's exactly what Belinda is. So why does she already feel like the one companion 15 was waiting for? From the start, Ruby was wonder, Belinda is war. Let's talk about Ruby. Her arc was moving, a foundling raised in a snowstorm, full of faith, full of hope, full of questions. And for a while, that was exactly what the Doctor needed. Innocence, humanity, a reminder of why he fights. But as their journey continued, Ruby never grew with the Doctor, she just followed his rhythm. She wasn't lesser, she wasn't weak. But their energy, it was teacher and student, not equals. Now cut to Belinda. The moment she enters the TARDIS, it's different. The way she walks, the way she watches, the way she never lets her guard down. It's not awe, it's calculation. She's watching the Doctor, testing him, and slowly, choosing to trust him. That's not admiration, that's a soldier choosing her general. Belinda doesn't wait to be invited in. She demands her place. Companions often spend entire seasons proving themselves. They get one-liners, they fetch the psychic paper, they wait in the TARDIS while the Doctor talks to gods. But Belinda, she grabs the moment by the throat. When the Doctor is spiraling, she speaks first. When gods rise, she doesn't flinch. When the mission is chaos, Belinda becomes the calm in the storm. And what's more powerful? The Doctor lets her. He doesn't explain things like he did with Ruby. He doesn't protect her like he did with Martha. He doesn't distract her like he did with Donna. He meets her, on her level, and for the Doctor, that's rare. But there's something else. A reason. Belinda might matter more than she knows. Here's the part no one is saying yet. What if Belinda isn't just the best companion for the 15th Doctor? What if she's necessary? In the story in the engine, in Lux, in the robot revolution, we see a version of the Doctor who is on the edge of something. Something bigger, darker, heavier. He doesn't need light right now. He needs anchor. Ruby was the heart. But Belinda, she's the shield. And the question that lingers at the edge of every episode is this. Does she know something about the Doctor's future that we don't? Or worse? Is she being positioned not just as his companion, but as his final witness? The Doctor doesn't fall in love often, but he does fall into grief. Every companion becomes a wound, and some become scars. What if Belinda isn't just his perfect companion? What if she's the one he can't save? Belinda isn't just brave, she's already preparing for goodbye. Let's talk about the quiet strength behind Varada Sethu's performance. Belinda Chandra doesn't play the part of a lifelong adventurer. She doesn't beam at alien skies. She doesn't flirt with danger. She doesn't need the Doctor. She's here to help. She's here to finish the mission. And then, she wants to go home. Unlike so many companions before her, Belinda has an exit plan. That should be comforting. It should make her less of a risk. But in the Doctor's world, that kind of logic is always the kiss of death. Because companions who don't want to stay, they're the ones who often disappear before they get the chance to leave. She doesn't need the Doctor, but the Doctor might need her to survive. Watch their body language. Every scene with Belinda in 15 is loaded with contrast. He paces. She stands still. He rants. She listens. He fears. She focuses. She is the center of gravity he hasn't had since Donna, since Clara, since River, and the Doctor. This Doctor. He's manic, vibrant, expressive. But beneath the color, he's bleeding. Ruby couldn't see that. But Belinda, she doesn't just see it, she absorbs it. She carries his guilt. She takes his rage. She lets him spiral. And then she brings him back. That's not just a good companion, that's a mirror. And if you've watched Doctor Who long enough, you know what mirrors become. Sacrifices. Is Belinda being set up to break the Doctor in a way no companion ever has? Now here's the darkest question. Why does the Doctor connect with Belinda so deeply and so fast? Is it respect? Is it chemistry? Or is it fate? Maybe this Doctor, like so many before him, can feel the end before it begins. Maybe he's holding on tighter, because something's coming. A war, a choice, a goodbye. What if Belinda isn't here to stay? What if she's here to hurt him? To make him feel again? To force him to evolve? To become the next Doctor only after he loses her? Because if history repeats, and it always does in the Whoniverse, the true companion is never the safest. They're the one the Doctor never forgets, and the one we're never ready to let go of. She's brave, she's brilliant, she's exactly who the Doctor needs. Too perfect. And that's the problem. Because what if Belinda Chandra isn't just a nurse from 2025? What if she's something else entirely? She's not reacting like a first-time companion, and that might not be an accident. Let's rewind. Most companions, even the clever ones, have shock moments. Alien planets? They panic. Time travel. They freeze. Facing gods? They doubt. But Belinda? No breakdowns. No hesitation. Just clarity. Even when staring down Lux Imperator, the god of light, Belinda didn't beg. She negotiated, and when she entered the Nexus Web and the story in the engine, she didn't even ask what it was. She just walked in like she'd been there before. That's not bravery, that's familiarity. So here's the question that changes everything. What if Belinda has seen all this before? Is Belinda another fragment of the Pantheon, a god in disguise? We know the Pantheon is watching. We know Mrs. Flood is more than she seems. We know the gods, like Lux, the Maestro, the Barber, can hide in human form. So let's ask the forbidden question. Is Belinda hiding too? She's not showy like Maestro, not seductive like the Trickster, not flamboyant like the Toymaker. She's steady, quiet, anchored. Maybe that's exactly what makes her the most dangerous. What if Belinda is a piece of the Underverse? A god who chose service over supremacy? A goddess of healing, of balance, of mercy. It would explain everything. Her calm in chaos, her connection to the Doctor, and why the TARDIS accepted her so fast. She's not just compatible, she's written for him. But gods always come with cost. And if Belinda isn't human, then what happens when she finally reveals the truth? Or worse, what if Belinda doesn't know what she is yet? Now take this theory one step further. What if Belinda is human, but only on the surface? What if something inside her is awakening? Not possession, not trickery, but transformation. The Pantheon is leaking through cracks in time. The Barber's Nexus has scrambled memory and fate, and Mrs. Flood is watching Belinda with far too much interest. So we ask again, is Belinda destined to become something more? Not a god, not a soldier, but a story. One that shapes the universe. One the Doctor will beg to forget, just to keep the pain from swallowing him whole. Because if Belinda isn't human, or worse, if she stops being human, then this isn't a companion story anymore. It's a tragedy in disguise. And when it hits, it's going to rewrite everything. "You look familiar," the Doctor said, and Belinda didn't flinch. Just one line, one glance, and the whole universe shifted. What if the Doctor has already met Belinda, but he doesn't remember? The timeless child changed everything, including who the Doctor remembers. Let's revisit the Timeless Child arc. A twist so massive it cracked Doctor Who canon wide open. It told us this: the Doctor isn't from Gallifrey. The Doctor had countless past lives. Lives erased, forgotten. And that means one thing: there are people the Doctor once loved who no longer exist in his memory. People who walked with him, fought beside him, maybe even saved him. Belinda Chandra could be one of them. Maybe she was a companion in a lost regeneration. Maybe she was part of a forgotten timeline, erased by division. Maybe she was division. It would explain her calm, her instincts, her connection. It would explain why 15 looks at her and can't look away. He doesn't know why, but some part of him remembers. And memory in Doctor Who, memory is everything. Boom was never just an episode, it was a prophecy. Let's go back to Boom. Remember Mundy Flynn, the military nurse? The unshakable calm, the same actress as Belinda, Everyone thought it was a casting Easter egg, but this is Russell T Davies. Nothing is accidental. What if Boom was foreshadowing? What if Mundy and Belinda are connected, not by chance, but by timeline? The planet in Boom was tied to Villangar, the arms corporation that haunts the future. What if Belinda's origin, or her destiny, is wrapped up in Villangar's rise? What if she is the butterfly effect? A soldier in one timeline, a healer in another, both tied to the Doctor's forgotten war. Maybe that's why Belinda is so composed, because somewhere deep inside, she's already done this before. If Belinda was once forgotten, what happens when the Doctor remembers? Now here's the haunting question. What if Belinda's true story has already happened, but only the universe remembers it? What happens when the Doctor finally remembers her? Will it break him? Will it change their future? Or will it mean that everything he's done since was a lie? Because if Belinda was once his companion, and Division stole her from his mind, then she's not just the right fit. She's the one he lost, and that means one thing. This isn't the beginning of their story, it's the second chance. And second chances in Doctor Who, they always come at a price.